I'm going to tell you something about Liberia and a connection to Israel that not very many people know. So let me start by saying, did you know that there's been like a really deep and long-lasting relationship between the nations of Liberia and Israel? And it's not something recent. It goes all the way back to November 29th, 1947. And that might be a day that you remember because it was on that day that the United Nations General Assembly met in New York to vote on the partition plan to create, in part, a Jewish state. And check this out. It was Liberia's vote that pushed it over the finish line. In fact, Liberia was one of the first countries to recognize Israel as an independent and sovereign state. Liberia's assistance to Israel began shortly after its declaration of independence in 1948, and Liberia even flew the Israeli flag at its embassy in Monrovia. So much amazing, amazing history. Liberia has helped through its support at the United Nations. Liberia has consistently voted in favor of Israel at the UN and defended the Jewish state. Liberia, and this was actually a big surprise to me. And I don't know why it's a surprise, because it's general knowledge. You can Google it, you can find it, it's there. But did you know that Liberia provided, valuable assistance to Israel during the 1956 Suez crisis? Israel was one of the few African countries that helped support Israel during that crisis. And Liberia even sent military personnel to serve alongside Israeli forces. That blew my mind when I found that out. And I've since spoken to some of my friends in Liberia, and they've confirmed, yeah, well, we all know about it here. But over here, we've never heard of such things. And I always wondered what the connection was between Liberia and Israel, because I spent 20 years in Israel and these past few years in Liberia. And I knew there was a connection, but I didn't really know exactly what that connection was. And we're still talking and praying about what that connection is going to look like moving forward. And so after the Suez crisis, Liberia opened up its market to Israeli exports. A lot of countries weren't accepting Israeli exports back then because of all the political divide that was going on. But Liberia agreed to buy materials and products from Israel, and that helped the Jewish state, but it also helped Liberia. Even in the area of agriculture, Israel has been a leader in developing innovative, techniques and technologies, and Liberia has been really eager to learn from the Jewish state. It's been an amazing, amazing relationship, and to see that grow has been absolutely extraordinary. And on top of that, Israel provided help to Liberia. There was humanitarian aid given during the 2014 Ebola crisis. Israel sent a medical team to Liberia to help contain the spread of disease. Liberia has been a blessing to the nation of Israel. And all you got to do is go to the scriptures. And everybody knows this verse in Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, where God is speaking to Abraham, and he says, I will bless anyone, any person, any nation, any country, any people who bless you. And this morning, Karen and I were doing our devotions, and we were starting in the Gospel of Luke, and it was right after the angel Gabriel visited Mary, and Mary is so blown away by all the information that the angel is giving her. And she's like, how's this going to happen? But you know what? I'm just a servant. Let it be done to me as you have said it. And Gabriel gives this really powerful response that I've overlooked, I think, and maybe some other people have as well. And talking about the promises that when God says he's going to do something, it says this in Luke chapter 1, verse 37. The angel Gabriel said, for no word from God will ever fail. I want to read that again. For no word from God will ever fail. So when God says, I will bless anyone who blesses my people, that promise, that word will not fail. So I'm calling on you, our friends and our partners here at home and all around the world. Help us by making a donation today so that we can bring a blessing to Liberia for their obedience in being a blessing to the nation and people of Israel.